Can you say your name, please?
Yes, my name is Doyle, D-O-Y-L-E, Boothroy, B-O-O-T-H-R-O-Y, one word.
How did you end up in the Navy?
I enlisted in the Navy to avoid the draft for the Second World War.
You didn't want to go to the Army.
I didn't want to go to the Army.
And why didn't you want to go to the Army?
Well, because I had two uncles that was in the Army during the First War, and they made it sound like it wasn't a joy.
So you're like, I'll choose the water.
Right.
When did you first find yourself aboard the USS Missouri?
In February of '45,
And where were you? What city did you get on the ship?
in Guam.
So when you got on the ship in Guam, how old were you?
19.
19 at the time. Why did you end up on the ship in Guam and not some other port?
Because I was a member of Admiral Halsey's staff allowance, and he had been in the Pacific for some time, and he happened to be in Guam as the commander of the Third Fleet, and there was 198 men in his staff, and every place that Admiral Halsey went, he took his men with him.
Do you remember your first impressions of getting on USS Missouri?
Mostly the size of it. It's classified as 50,000 tons. Well, you know, a ton is 2,000 pounds, and you multiply that by 50,000, why, it's just a big ship. There were 4 of them in the same category. The Missouri right now is still classified as a Navy ship. However, it's not a warship, it's a museum. Originally, there were 2,800 crew members, and the Missouri is 3 football fields long, 900 feet, and it's 96 feet wide. Panama Canal is only 100, was only 100, now it's 150. But you try to get a ship as big as the Missouri through the canal, and there's only 2 feet of clearance on both sides. They wouldn't let it go through on its own power. They towed it through. When I joined it, I arrived in Guam on the USS Louisville, and it docked, and I walked down the plank, across the dock, and up the plank into the Missouri.
Oh, you were barely even on ground.
Right.
Okay, so you were in Guam, but not really.
Yes.
Guam.
Right.
So when you got on the USS Missouri, at what point was this? Was this before going off to Japan?
Yes, because in the same position that I was, and that afternoon while we left for Iwo Jima,
Okay, so that same day.
same day.
What do you remember about the battle in Iwo Jima?
I don't remember a great deal about it because Iwo Jima was 2 miles wide and 8 miles long. Yeah, so aboard the Missouri, we bombed the coasts in front of our troops.
So was there ever a time when you were afraid?
No,
No.
no,
Not even when you enlisted, you weren't afraid?
no.
Why not?
Because there wasn't anything to be afraid of. You know, war's war, and you played your part in it, and that was it.
What about the kamikaze flyers? That didn't concern you?
No, we were on the lookout for them constantly, but we were never confronted with the kamikazes while I was on the Missouri. They were confronted with it because they had a kamikaze plane hit the Missouri, and it didn't hit the body of the airplane did not hit the ship. The wing hit it, and it threw the pilot on board, and so they had a military funeral for him to be buried at sea, but it didn't do a great deal of damage to the ship.
In the middle of the battle, do you remember hearing the sounds of war around you? Did that have an impact on you?
Yes, very definitely. When the 16-inch guns went off 3 at a time, it moved a 50,000-ton ship over in the water 4 feet. And the noise was deafening. As a matter of fact, it did ruin my ears.
I can't even imagine being that close to that sound, like how
Right.
that must have hurt.
Right.
When the Japanese surrendered, before they actually surrendered, but when word came that they were going to surrender, do you remember word spreading throughout the ship that this was going to happen, that the war was over?
The first atomic bomb was dropped on August the 6th on Hiroshima. 3 days later, August the 9th, another bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. On the 15th, August the 15th, the Emperor of Japan said there's going to be a lot more deaths, so let's quit it. So they stopped the war.
Do you know how you heard it?
Well, I was an orographer's mate, a weather observer, and our weather office was right behind the bridge. And on behind us was the radio shack. And so between the bridge and the radio shack, we heard a lot immediately as it happened.
Oh, wow. So you knew right away.
Yes, we knew right away.
Do you remember how you felt in that moment?
No,
Because you had a job to do.
we were all happy that it was ending, but we didn't know that, it'd be a while before things were all worked out.
You're basically on a moving target trying to figure out the weather of where you're going. What was that like?
It was very similar to most any weather station, in that in the Third Fleet, which Admiral Halsey was in charge of, there were 4 aircraft carriers, 3 heavy cruisers, and 2 battleships. One of the battleships was the Missouri, and 30 destroyers. The destroyers were used to deliver food and mail and ammunition and whatever. So the Third Fleet, Admiral Halsey took cover in the weather by the typhoon that was in the Pacific, and he would hide in the fridge of it.
And what was it like being there during that?
Well, it was it was part of the plan, so I can't really describe what it was like because it was just built in.
Was the ship just all over? Like, were you at the edge of the typhoon? Did you feel some of that weather on you? Did it impact the ship?
No, we took a weather observation every half hour.
So you felt safe where you were.
Oh yes.
That's a pretty nifty strategy, though. Just close enough to a typhoon to keep people scared away. The day of the surrender, when Japanese officials came onto the USS Missouri, You were there, correct?
Yes,
Were you able to see it?
yes.
Tell me about that. What was that like?
Well, about 4 days before the signing, the commander of Tokyo Bay. Tokyo Bay is 40 square miles, so it's a big bay, but only one small entrance. And that small entrance was highly infected with mines, floating mines. And so they sent the commander of Tokyo Bay out to guide us through the minefield to get into the bay.
What was it like watching the surrender?
Oh, it was very impressive because there were so many aboard. See, the Japanese sent 9 representatives. The ship plus all the representatives from 8 other foreign countries amounted to 4,500 people. And our weather office, like I say, was right behind the bridge. The bridge was 4 decks up. So really all I had to do was leave the office and go to the edge of the deck and look right down on it and see it all.
So you had a bird's eye view.
Oh yes.
This is a pivotal moment in not just American but global history. At that time, how old were you at the time?
19.
19.
19.
So, as a 19-year-old, were you aware of how pivotal this moment was for the world?
No, not really. Because I was asked, what did we think of it, and the only thought that everyone that I knew in the crew was glad that the war was over and we were finally going to get to go home.
Yeah. What did it mean to you to be part of the Navy?
To be a part of it? Well, I was always proud of the Navy. Everything that I took in or was involved in leading up to the battleship was, to me, was real interesting.
Yeah. You enjoyed what you did.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I anticipated that when I got out of the service, I would join the Weather Bureau, having 4 years of experience with being a weather observer.
Did you do that?
Yes.
Those of us who were not alive during World War II, if there's things that you think we don't understand or is that is misunderstood about World War II, since you were there, is there something that you think we should know?
The things that I don't understand is people don't remember what it was. There's very, very few seniors like me. I'm 99, and the generation under me don't understand what the Second World War was or was all about.
So the real problem is they just don't even know their history, is what you're saying.
That's right.
Yeah. If they understood or studied World War II, do you think that would help them understand modern day?
I think it would help a great deal.
In
Right.
what way?
Well, for one thing, respect for our country. We have, I feel we have a lot of people that want to live in the United States, but they don't really understand the meaning of our country.
So then, what does it mean for you to be here this weekend for this 80th anniversary of the surrender?
For the 80th anniversary, well, there's 7 or 8 of us from the staff. There's possibly 50,000 Marines and Navy personnel since then. and so we're one of the few, and we're being acknowledged or represented that we were in World War II.
Have you been back to Pearl Harbor, back to Hawaii since you left?
Yes, I was back once, but
One time.
I don't remember any particular reason why.
So now you'll be back next Mighty Mo this
Right.
weekend. What are you most looking forward to?
Being a part of the representation of what happened 80 years ago.
When is your birthday?
When is my birthday? 03, March 28, 1926.
That is amazing, sir. It's amazing. It's so wonderful to meet you and to
Right.
hear about your experiences.
Well, I'm looking forward for the year with the 00 on it.
I'm looking forward to it for you too.
Thank you.